Hey everyone, welcome to 99.6 The Howl, episode 35 for the uninitiated. This is an unedited YouTube vlog discussing everything Arizona Coyotes, and this video's been coming. Decided to wait till after the trade deadline. Just made more sense if something happened in between the video I made and the trade deadline. It would have made no sense. So I just want to talk about John Chayka and what he's done for the Coyotes this season. I think he's done a great job. He's constantly looking at the team, retooling the team, and making moves that improve the team. I don't think he's made a move that hasn't improved the team in a really long time. I think one of the blunders he's made in his tenure as a Coyotes GM is buying out Vermette. That was last season, I believe, last off season, just before training camp. Obviously, Richardson goes down, Strome isn't ready, and our center depth evaporates in a blink of an eye. But that's hindsight 2020. So I was talking about this season. In the beginning of the year, 0-11-1, goaltending way below average, couldn't save a beach ball. And John Chayka makes a move, getting rid of Louis Domingue and bringing in Scott Wedgwood. And immediately the Coyotes get their first win of the season. Wedgwood, serviceable backup, stopped the bleeding. However, couldn't really establish himself as a league average goaltender. Ranta comes back. Jomerson comes back. Coyotes are playing well, still losing, still not where they should be. Some locker room issues with Duclair getting scratched. Tocchet wanted Duclair to be a top six winger. He was not going to put him in the third or fourth line role because that's where players like Cousins, Martinook, Ronaldo, Archibald fit in. I got to talk about Archibald too. Don't make me forget. So obviously no room for Duclair in the top six. They trade him. The return is Panik and Dauphin. Unfortunately, Dauphin's been the better piece that came back. He's got 14 points in 15 games in the AHL, helping Tucson establish their first place lead in the Pacific Division. Panik obviously hasn't produced much, if at all. However, the Coyotes go on a four-game winning streak, winning 5 of the last 6, picking up points in 6 of their last 7 games, and overall being a way better team without Duclair. So they've improved, like, in every area of their game. They've improved with Duclair out of the lineup. Archibald, like I mentioned before, great trade. I think Chayka gave the Pens a fourth or fifth round pick, and right away Archibald was scoring goals. He was scratched a little bit in the previous month, but he came back, and he's a great third line winger, great speed, great work ethic, complements the Coyotes, system, and that's a great pickup too. And then a couple days before the trade deadline, they trade Reeder and Wedgwood for Kemper. Wedgwood hits waivers the moment LA acquires him, which was a strange move. I guess LA is more confident in their minor league goalie in Campbell than Wedgwood. So Wedgwood will be spending the remainder of the season in the AHL, which is unfortunate for him. But Chayka gets Kemper in return in his first game against Vancouver. Unbelievable. I think his rebound control could use some work, but he kept the Coyotes in that game for 2.5 periods. I mean, it was 1-0 for a while, since the beginning of the first, when the Canucks scored on their power play. Then the Coyotes tie it up. Couple fluke goals, to be honest, by Vancouver. The power play, Kemper had no chance on, and then a high tip by Daniel Sedin or Henrik Sedin, one of the Sedins. No chance for Kemper, and then the third goal was a broken 2-on-1 play. So you can't really blame Kemper on those goals, but he looked awesome. He kept the Coyotes in, gave him a chance to get a point, to get a win. Coyotes did not capitalize on power plays or scoring opportunities, had 41 shots against Markstrom, so that's not Kemper's fault. However, yeah, Kemper was a great acquisition, tough move to give away Tobias Reeder, a fan favorite just like Duclair. I mean, sure, Duclair and Reeder weren't producing to the levels that they should have been, but they were fan favorites. People had Duclair jerseys. People have Reeder jerseys. People remember when Reeder got called up against Washington and scored 2 goals against them on the road. They're tough moves to make, but they're the right moves. And fortunately, John Chayka didn't make any more moves because after giving up Duclair and Reeder, people were assuming he'd go and let Domi go or let OEL go, but Chayka stayed the course. He said he would listen to offers, which is true for any GM and any other players. They will look at offers, but obviously he was not actively shopping either of those guys. And Chayka believes in the core of this team. He believes the Coyotes have the players to make that push, and he didn't destroy the core at all. Just look at the Avs last season, and I relate to the Coyotes this year much to the Colorado Avalanche of last year. Colorado didn't really sell at the deadline last year. Everyone was pushing for them to sell Barry, sell Duchesne, Landeskog, McKinnon, but no, Sakic stayed the course. He believed in his group and his core. He believed that the problems they had were injuries and a new system. And look at them now, 2 points off a playoff spot, playing great hockey. I think 8 or 9 games above 500. And look who's driving that team: Rantanen, McKinnon, Barry, Landeskog. They did end up trading Duchesne in November, not at the trade deadline, not at the draft, in November when a deal made sense and it effectively made their team better. They're on a roll ever since they traded Duchesne away, got a couple picks and a young defenseman who brought an immediate impact to their lineup. So, yeah, I mean, I don't fault Chayka for making moves. We've sold at the deadline for numerous years, and it's time for these players to mature and take the next step. We need Perlini, Dvorak to be consistent point production players, along with Domi. Keller is there already. He has some nights off, but Keller, he's a game breaker type player, and every time he has the puck, it's magic. He looks for magic, he feels the magic, and magic most often happens when Keller has the puck in the O zone. Chikrin needs to be a bit better offensively. I think he's great defensively, and OEL, couple weak seasons, but I believe in him to step it back up. So that's it for me. Thank you, John Chayka. Please continue your brilliance, and we'll see at the draft this year what happens. Last draft was a roller coaster with Hjalmarsson and Ranta. So, yeah. I also want to mention this video. I'm going to pause. Chayka made a couple AHL moves yesterday at the trade deadline, getting Carter Camper and Trevor Murphy. Both players, Trevor Murphy is an offensive defenseman, and Carter Camper is a lifetime AHLer who gets a lot of points. I'm not sure why Columbus's affiliate decided to let him go. He just had a bobblehead night for the Cleveland Monsters, and I think he has 40 points in about 55 games or so. But he puts up points, and he's going to help the Tucson Roadrunners push for the Calder Cup. Unfortunately, Tyler Gaudette goes the other way, but a depth centerman who couldn't really crack the Coyotes lineup, even though they have really not a strong center depth position on its own. So, yeah, a couple of AHL moves that improve Tucson and the Detroit model, like Maloney said before he departed the organization. And Chayka continues to, throw around is that Detroit model, build from your farm. The Tucson Roadrunners are first in their division, and then in the ECHL, the Flint Firebirds, they may be called. I forget their name. They're second in the division, and players are playing really well. Great environment in Tucson. You have Strome, Merkley. Merkley's been injured for over a month. So that's caused Strome to really decline his production because Strome and Merkley were tearing it up in the A. However, Merkley goes down with an injury, and that affects Strome. So hopefully Merkley comes back this week or next week, and they continue their dominance in the Pacific Division, and hopefully bring a cup to the desert. That'd be awesome. A championship, I should say. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support.